We are here with this moment, with this live to talk about the next project that we're gonna do together. I put as a title Hack the System, the talks on the trainers, and I prepared, and I already shared with you, and I have it here with me, a couple of points to reflect about this project that will start soon. Will be, as is visible here, from 3 till 12 March in Bulgaria. The organizer is Smokinya, and before to go with who we are and the content, I ask you if you want to share, because we're gonna reshare this video in groups. The purpose is to talk about the project. If you want to share a couple of words about Smokinya.
Yes, I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Perfect. I was hunting for internet because right now I'm in the rural area of Lithuania on another training course. And yeah, this practical connectivity topic was challenging, but I think I found a good spot. So, Smokinya Foundation is a non-profit organization in public benefit. This year we turned 10 years old, and for 10 years we managed to do over 23 projects, and we involved more than 1,000 people in our projects, but also sending abroad to partnerships and projects all over Europe. And specifically for this training course, we will get to the concept and content part. Just for Smokinya, I could say that in the past years, we're focusing on training courses, sometimes also youth exchanges on topics of communication, effective collaboration, personal development, with the kind of coaching that we do in at Smokinya Foundation and also in our network. And of course, we host a lot of ESC, European Solidarity Corps volunteers from abroad who come to Bulgaria. And at the same time, we act as a support or sending organizations for Bulgarians who go abroad to both Erasmus Plus trainings and exchanges and European Solidarity Corps. In short, Smokinya has accreditation in the field of youth of Erasmus Plus. That means that we have written a quite extensive application form. We have submitted a quite extensive strategic plan for 7 years, and we are among some of the organizations who managed to go through this process successfully. So we are accredited, which means that we met very strict criteria for getting this privilege. Also in Erasmus Plus, and something similar in European Solidarity Corps, where we have a quality label. It's sort of accreditation. So having said that, at Smokinya we focus on really helping young people 17, 18 and up. Maybe average age is around 25, to become more aware of their ways of thinking, communicating, and their strong sides or hidden talents, and also discover what are certain limitations, so they can also become aware where are the spots for working and developing themselves. Bottom line, what is the purpose of all this? So people who participate in our trainings, exchanges, and volunteering programs to become more empowered, more certain and secure in their own needs and ideas, and to make a life that they want to make, to raise the quality of their own lives, no matter if they are still in studies or in between studies or just freshly out of high school. We have worked and we work with diverse groups in that context.
Thanks for the intro. And a couple of points about awareness and communication. I think they are the one that we want to connect, because the purpose of this online event, thanks for the people who are watching and the people who are joining, is to share our point of view and our perspective on the new PDA, professional development activity, that will be implemented. This hack the system is the second step. We had together as this word, trainers, colleagues, people who work on the context and on some questioning. We had the first step was 1 month ago, was a reset, and people have the possibility to put their phone away. Some of them with more willingness, some of them a bit more scared, but it's understandable. We give a lot of meaning to this and power to this black or dark color device that we usually have. And we imagine to, after the reset, after the disconnection from the phone, and question that I was asking many times for the participant, what is the difference between pause and reset? We imagine that people, okay, they disconnect, they reset, they go back home with a new understanding about the patterns and themselves. And we were imagining what can be the second step. What are, after that we reset ourselves, where can we go? And the title and the topic, we had this idea, hack the system. And I can read also in a word. I have here my second screen with the info pack. In a word shaped by fast communication, digital platform, the way we use language has never been more important. That's the first question we put there. Before to go on the content, I prepare these 5. It's not like an interview, because I also will talk. We will be together facilitating. But to me, to have a bullet points to talk about. And the first point is in our experience as a trainers. What are the methods that we want to bring, or we can support people in working to be aware about the mental models and assumption they bring in the system? So what are the methods that we want to experiment? We want to bring, we want to share.
Yes, there is a lot of planning and thinking behind, and a lot of actually work that I did and you did. I know over the years that we together worked, but we also together or separately participated in many different educational projects within the Erasmus Plus field, but also outside. And we have gathered a lot of impressions and knowledge. At the same time, we also put a lot of effort and work to get certain what is it called, qualifications or certifications. And here I would like to also draw a little distinction that many times Erasmus Plus projects are overlooked, because there is this Erasmus Plus youth. That's okay. There is a lot of traveling and expectation. Very often we are facing an expectation that people are rather going because of past experience for certain kind of light program or kind of cultural exchange, while especially in the training courses, the design and by default the context of training courses within Erasmus Plus is directed towards really developing certain skills, attitudes, even knowledge, and compacting this in a competence model. Pretty much in one sentence, the training courses are designed to really go and learn something in a condensed learning environment. Most of the time we work in 7, 8, 9 days, sometimes 10 days programs. In my own experience, because I was also participant many times in the past years, the past 10, 12 years, this idea of going outside of our comfort zone is very appealing and very widespread also on social media. And when we go to a really high quality project where there is a lot of thinking behind, planning, methodological preparation, and an intention to create really learning that stays even after the project, not just a beautiful experience abroad. Those times can be very challenging. And me personally, in the past years, when I was mostly actively participating, I got interested by those projects and training courses where it was condensed and was really challenging. I was literally outside of my comfort zone. And back then, there was also a little community of people from all over Europe that we were somehow always finding each other in different countries, in different projects, different trainings. And somehow we shared this idea and this mindset that when we go somewhere, we want to learn and we want to go back home with tool sets, skill sets, something that really stays. So in that sense, that is the way how I grew as a person, also as a professional trainer and youth worker, that I was trained and I was coached and mentored by these kind of people who are creating really, really fantastic learning experiences. And of course, my intention, I don't know, people who come to our projects can evaluate that. But yeah, my intention is driven from that point. Intercultural exchange and interaction is inevitable. Once you have 40 people from 12, 15 countries, this is completely, check. So we don't necessarily put emphasis on that. What we put emphasis is really working with the motivations and needs of the people which they express in their application forms, but this is long before they come when they apply to the project. Then things change. Our life is dynamic. So when people come and end up in the training room together with us and together we are doing a certain training course on a certain topic, it becomes even more clear what are the motivations and needs. So we work with a method which is highly dynamic and highly adaptable, and we put a lot of work and effort to adapt and to tailor it for the given context and time being of the certain people who are in the training room. Compared to usual or a little bit, it's not so good to judge, but I try to say it. In old school approaches and also in formal education, there is a program and hosts, trainers try to fit the people into the program. In our case, we also have a lot of preparation and a program and a lineup of activities, which is prepared and ready, but we can rearrange it in order to fit the program for the people, however it may happen working. Of course, there is a lot of uncertainty, and it is part of the education that in moments that we are a little bit in the I don't know, actually this is the sweet spot where we start from altogether. And briefly, in terms of methodologies and ways of working, I personally prefer the ontological coaching. I prefer, and I use a lot of body movements, body awareness, mindfulness, neuro-linguistic programming, and very, how to say, raw linguistic verbal coaching, which we combine with also non-verbal work and outdoor experiential learning, outdoor activities, where we rather first experience and we do something, and then we reflect and think about, oh, what happened? What did I learn? How can I use it? So I will stop here.
Thank you. I want to continue with what you said about the planning and what it's so-called timetable and the frame, because a word that I share with you and since a couple of years that I'm busy with it, this concept of utagogy or utagogy, and I like to have in my mind, it's working for me if I create this distinction, separation between what is pedagogy, andragogy, and utagogy or utagogy. And when I create programs, I question myself, how can I support the people to find themselves in a way that they can choose what to learn? That is not me telling them, you need to learn that, you need to do that, but how can what is real leadership, a real awareness that people can work on, that people can learn from themselves what is useful from themselves. And the second part is really for me the experiential thing. So Lewis and Kolb, all this theory about education starting from the experience, and then going again another distinction: what is a fact, what really happened, and what is my interpretation of the fact. So asking questions to people and supporting people to understand, okay, this is what happened, this is how we perceive it. And another element that I bring in trainings is this concept of what is a training is a repeated action under different circumstances, that I take it from sport. How can we support people to shape the context to work with the team? We mentioned it, and I invite this video. I would like to share it with the participants also before to arrive. Like I would like to ask because it's also part of the content to see how the room is prepared, where the chairs are facing, how is the music used, how are the smells of the room, how is the temperature. So to observe what are the concrete factual elements that shape not only, okay, I receive a theory, I think hypothetically this theory can help me in that given situation. No, okay, in this given moment, with these given people, with the multisensorial experience that I'm with, how I am standing, how am I moving, how am I presenting myself, how can I, doesn't matter the circumstances, put myself in a learning way. And this is for me a training course in this context, experiential learning, integrated learning that I find for myself the division between formal, non-formal, informal not working. In this type of project, I prefer to have the integrated learning approach. Sometimes it's more formal. There is a tool that we need to give, and it's more useful or working better in that given moment to have a formal setting, give the tool, and then that's it. Sometimes it's more informal, more casual, and sometimes it's more non-formal. So yeah, the experiential learning, utagogy, the repeated action under different circumstances. This is what I want to bring. The distinction between what is the fact, what is the observation, factual observation. This is also coming from Kolb experiential learning, and the interpretation of it, the assumption behind. These are a bit the points. And this concept, again, to close it with the plan, the timetable, the frame, and how it's modified, and how this element of uncertainty, it can be useful for people to see how do we react to situations. And I want to go deeper with the topic, because I think all these elements that we mentioned, we can we use it in pose in the reset. We're going to use it now. It's a bit our what we bring to things, but going deeper in the content, it's how we can work, and how do you plan, or what are the elements that you want to bring with about language, about the specific language in the training setting.
Yes, a lot of things are already hidden in the language, and somehow we constantly talk or listen to ourselves, to other people, to content from outside, internet, music, and so on. And this is not something that Fabrizio and I discovered. This is something that is a very solid theory and also practice, that language is not just a tool that we describe what is happening to us and around us. There is a ground idea or pre-assumption about language that, okay, yes, it is a descriptive tool for sure. It works and helps us a lot to describe, but also it's a actively creating tool. It's a creative process when we think and when we talk. And by the things that we think, if we pay attention to the things that we think, and if we pay attention to the things that we say, we might become more aware of certain limitations and opportunities, possibilities, how with little tweaks, with little changes, to actually change certain things that maybe we could be more free about or maybe more empowered about. I'll give a very stupid example, like maybe to make it more clear what I mean. Two extremes. For example, there are people around me in my life who believe constantly in certain conspiracies or things that I would call conspiracy. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, and this is not the point. And there are people around me in my life who are constantly seeing and talking about things which can be really summarized like, looking through pink glasses. Again, no matter what is right or wrong, I don't know. But these are two extreme ways to describe this thing, language, how it works. And for sure, those who are into conspiracies, they'll always find a conspiracy here or and those who are really always looking through pink glasses will always find something good and fantastic what is going on. And the question here is, do we want to allow ourselves just for a moment to step into a possibility to make this distinction, and even before the distinction, to allow ourselves to pause for a moment and pay attention and notice and sense our own thinking and talking process. And from that moment and from that position to choose, okay, is this limiting me or this is empowering me? If I see constantly conspiracies, is this limiting me or empowering me? If I see constantly through pink glasses, is this limiting me or empowering me? And of course, everything in between. To become curious about our own self. And once we become curious and pay attention to build this awareness, and also to become more skillful to notice in other people's way of communicating what are maybe some things that we could assume are not so liberating, but a little bit limiting. And of course, there are certain practices and tools that are trainable that we are using to build this awareness. I hope I answered.
Yes, when you were talking, I have another example that recently I was talking with some people about, because I'm Italian, you're Bulgarian, so your own mother language is Bulgarian, my own mother language is Italian. We were talking with friends how that we work and speak in different languages, national languages, I mean, and how our personality, without me telling them. So they brought this topic about, okay, how I feel different when I speak in Spanish. How come? That's for me the first example that we can bring about how the way that we speak, the words that we use, the sounds that we make, they are both influenced by the way that we are in that given moment, but at the same time, they influence us. And for me, it's for example, in some projects, to go deeper in example, we in the last project we have example of activities where we processes where we ask people to speak in their own language, and that's not only out of inventing something, but it's using different words to describe different things. It can give us, it's a possibility, a different understanding of the same thing. And the schemes of talking that we have in the different languages, and also what you mentioned, the self-fulfilling prophecy, the cognitive biases, all these things that we that are well studied now. It's not it's something that there are many studies on that, and how where we put our focus, and that's for me it's two ways. So what we can bring in the project is helping people, not helping, inviting people to listen to themselves when they speak, to see, okay, which type of descriptive language I use to describe things, and how is this generating which type of sensations and understanding and perception of the words. I also invite people that are part of this call now, or listening or participating, to, I don't know if you ever try to record yourself and then to listen back to yourself. It's weird, at least for me. It's sometimes it's weird to especially for me it's weirder when I do it in Italian than when I do it in English. In English, I mostly work in English, so I put more focus in choosing the word that I use. So I speak slower, and also even my tonality change is a bit lower. And I perceive myself in a certain way. When I speak Italian, I speak faster with a slightly higher pitch, and to hear it back, it's interesting. It's really sounds like two different people with two different type of confidence. And also, I don't know if you have like a voice to work when you're in public speaking, and then when you are in private, and all these things. It's a small example on how the language, and I want to bring these elements, this type of elements in the project to work and to look. Also, the type of questions that we ask ourselves. Are we able to imagine generative questions? So question that generates new questions that how they are called, the inquiries, that maybe don't have an answer, but it can open a new door in the thinking. It can open a new possibility. These things about what I don't know that I don't know. So in the last project, I was asking to some participants, okay, what are the questions that you're scared to ask yourself? In a way that by shaping the type of question, is not only, okay, how do you feel? Okay, good, fine. It's the most common answer. So which type of question can we bring? And this is also connect with what you mentioned before about the type of activities. So each given moment we can choose to set up a standard of vulnerability, commitment by the question. So by the processes we put, if I have only 7 days to work with people, and 7 days, it's 6-7 hours per day. So in total, it's not much. So which type of content I choose to bring? Do I sit for 1 hour to ask people, okay, what's your name? What's your movement? Or do I ask people, okay, I want to work with a relationship that we have with my friends, with my family, and this is what I'm feeling, blah, blah, blah. So to go in something that usually, in my point of view, usually in the outside of this context of a training course, we rarely, at least myself, I rarely sit to think about these things and to work on these things to make this distinction. Because if I have to talk with my accountant and then I ask my accountant, okay, what is your opinion on or how do you shape your question? My accountant said, I don't give I want the numbers. So yeah, more or less, we can proceed with the next. It's already half an hour. I don't want to keep you longer. I know you're busy with the project there. And if you can share with me, if you want to, can. So share with me, please, some of the tools that you concretely example of processes that you can bring and tools. And you mentioned about body movement, but okay, how do you use body movement in your work, for example, and which are example of tools? What is your toolkit?
Yes, I wanted to mention something related to your previous input, and then also about the body movement. Somehow, of course, there's nothing bad about it. This is simply human and it's happening a lot everywhere. It's not related to a certain culture or country. But somehow educational system and usual way of upbringing very often teaches us to be very affirmative about our answers. And as like a little contrast to this, at least in my work, my intention is to provoke questions and questioning, also for myself, but also people, and to become much more affirmative in questioning. Is it so? Is it really so? Especially when it is about things and topics and certain behaviors that we are struggling with, in order that we create a new space. An answer, a definition, closes things into certain limitations. A question would open up possibility. This is one thing. Another thing, so yeah, to become more affirmative about our questions, not so much about our answers. Of course, all these steps on certain research and methodology from social sciences, anthropology, psychology. What else? Yes, to come back to the body movement. Yes, in very often we also face in high school education, in university, that we are sort of somehow sitting and listening. Some content and ideas are delivered to us. We need to memorize, and then we need to pass a test or some more complex exam. And this is okay. And also not so much working for absolutely everyone in the educational system. So in the non-formal and experiential learning, non-formal education and experiential learning, what has been noticed is that it is very good, very much recommended to activate the different senses: visual, verbal, hearing, touch, to do the things, but also body movement, because what is so obvious, so we sometimes take it for granted and forget about it, is that we don't have a mind and a body. We are a mind-body beings. We are always together with our mind and our body. And when we kind of go more in the direction of cognitive, then our bodies start giving us reminders sooner or later that they exist, usually through some physical trauma or pains here and there. So in our approach, we bring very simple body movement exercises. Literally, it's not about dancing, it's about body movement and becoming aware of this and that, which lights up new neural pathways in the body and in the mind. Because when we do a new kind of activity, new kind of exercise with our body that we never did before, this is completely new input for the whole system, for our whole mind-body system. And this has a huge potential. Of course, it might be that we are very clumsy at first, but also we're in our body movement exercises, we're not going for aesthetics, we're going for exploration and noticing and observing. So this can be profound source of ideas, creativity, and empowerment, simply to activate certain new ways of moving through space. Then, of course, there are certain practices from dance, meditation, from yoga, visualizations are also involved, and simply very simple exercise of walking, but walking and paying attention to what's happening internally and having also an intention when we walk to walk in certain manner. And yeah, this is what I wanted to mention about the body movement. And just to come back 2 steps back regarding the language, I remembered a very good example that, of course, I didn't invent it, but it's a very simple way to describe that we're so much absorbed into the language like a fish in the water. And when does the fish realizes that there is also something going on outside of the water? Normally when it's outside of the water. And through the practices and the program we have prepared for this training course, Hack the System, people will have the chance to simply become more aware, somehow for a moment get out of this ocean of constantly verbal or thinking or some other content that we are constantly exposed to, and then make a choice. Is this working for me or not? Because it is important, at least to me, to mention that we're not going to tell anyone what and how to think. We simply offer different experiences, different ideas and concepts with an invitation. Okay, see, sense, feel what works for you and what doesn't, and choose the things that work for you to get better at things that you are interested, whether it's education, career, private life, anything.
I recently I heard this word of epistemic crisis with AI, because I want also to add a last level that it's going to be also part of the project, that is this generative language, artificial created ones. And with this distinction, this questioning, is it like that or is it not? For me, it's also connected with this concept of the that I heard like last week, the epistemic crisis with AI, with also all the I don't want to use the word fake, but the AI generated content that it can change the perception of what is real. So this is a belief. I believe that being able to questioning ourselves in, okay, is this, because we had a new level. So now, so far we had our own filters that we have in the mind, the perception, the generalization, the deletion, distortion. So an input happen and then we transform it in our own story. But we had also this level of the technology that add new filters, new things. So, and also that it's again connected with the eutagogy, like how can we support people to critically think about what it happened to them, if this is their own interpretation, if this is serving them. And the last point that I want to mention is also this use, because now we have this powerful tool that are the I don't want to promote a single brand because there are many, but this generative model for language And for me, it's also connected with, okay, we have a powerful tool that can answer to many things or can generate many things, verbally, and also images. How do we choose to use it? Do we ask to create a meme of our friends doing stupid things, or do we use it as a tool for self-reflection or for professional development? So to be able to understand and to see how the language work with ourselves, it can be, I don't want to say it is, it can be a reflection on which type of communication do we generate with a model that is digital, that is based on language. So I feel that is crucial to work on our way of using the language. It can be really useful because of this, and this is a thing that I don't want to say is good or bad. It's a reality. This is happening, that we have in our pocket the access to this infinite server without going in the ethic part of it, how much water is consuming, how are the data stripped, because I don't know. I have not enough sources and or capacities to understand it. What I know is that I have in my pocket a tool that, if I want, can help me to question myself on certain things and clear question, clear answers, but also generative question, generative answers. So I want to bring it. I don't know yet. How I want to work with the people during the project. I want to sit there with them to see what is their way of working, their way of learning, and together reflect. Okay, we have this, and maybe even ask to generative models, generative language model, to okay, we have you as a tool. How can we together as a group use you to support us? Use you like to support us in the learning process. It's an element that we didn't have in the past, and I want to bring. And in this project, from my point of view, will be part of it, because the language, the question, and everything. And another thing that you mentioned about the walking, the observing, the way of walking. For me, that is a really small example of the ability to develop metacognition. So, because I mentioned before, okay, are we able to separate facts from assumptions? Are we able to understand and observe how the way that we speak? Maybe we can train this by training that, because I assume metacognition is a bit transversal. The metacognition is this capacity to observe ourselves from outside. And maybe, that's just a maybe, if we start to focus on how do we breathe, how do we walk, how do we stand, maybe this capacity of observing ourselves, we can translate to other aspects of our life, to the language, to the relationships, to the so I want to invite people to connect dots, to create connection to things that happen to them. Okay, we work on the way that we walk. Okay, is there anything that you learned through that you can move, translate the pattern, the new pattern of thinking, or the new understanding, or the new awareness that you have in another field of your life? And because the neuroplasticity, the working on I use all the time this example when I ask people to cross their arms, and then to cross their arms in the opposite. How after a while it becomes easier, but in the beginning it's like weird, because it's a new. It's the same but different. And I want to close asking if there are any. I asked you if you want to have this call about the project and the trainer's perspective on the project. If there is anything that you wanted to share that you didn't share yet, or maybe listening, any final conclusion or reflection in a way to what can we find a conclusion for this?
Yes, what is this system that we're going to hack? Well, this is also a little bit metaphorical expression, but definitely those of us who have interest in languages in general, maybe we would agree that we know or we heard that also language is a code. Actually, it's also sort of mathematics. Like hundreds of years ago, through letters were expressed numbers, and different letters had a different value. For example, in the Roman Empire and the Latin way, the numbers are written in certain ways, but every symbol also is a letter. But also in Cyrillic, back in the time, there certain letters had a different value: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0, for example. And so language is a sort of a code in that manner. In another level, we also already spoke that what we constantly think of and we do somehow becomes a hidden choreography in our thinking process or in our also body movement. So if we become aware of those unconscious choreographies that we're constantly thinking, saying, and moving, there is a huge possibility that we become a little bit more aware, more mindful, and also more capable of designing and experiencing life the way we prefer, rather than becoming, how to say, like a little leaf from a tree, which is just moved away by the river or the ocean one way or another. To come back to our source, to create and recreate the way how we want to see things. And what people will get, well, again, we don't want to, or at least I don't want to tell what is exactly the best or should people think or take as a technique. We will offer diverse experiences and techniques and exercises so people can grab something that they will choose for themselves that works. Nobody's going to impose anything on anyone. This is very important for me to say. And what usually happens in projects like this and training courses on this topic and these methodologies that we're going to use is that first people become more aware of their use of language, their thinking process, and some limiting, not so empowering or limiting patterns of thinking or talking. People normally become more skillful and more aware and eventually more skillful in building better and meaningful relationships, friendships, because somehow the content of our conversations shapes the quality of a relationship. And what and how we communicate is very important to how close we are with certain people and how not close we are with other people. And once we are aware of this, then we can consciously choose to change those things or adapt. And overall, all these things can have a positive impact on personal and professional life. And yeah, so we're going to, if we're hacking something, the hack to me is the process and discovery and developing curiosity of what and how we think and say to ourselves. And if we change a little quality, for example, in our inner voice, it can have 1,000 different qualities. And if we become aware, okay, when we feel angry, how do I sound to me in my inner voice? And what if I change the quality and make it a little bit slower, or with not high pitch but lower, medium or lower pitch? How will my experience change? Because these things are very, very simple, and we will explore them in practice how it works, and people can choose what is best for them. And currently we have still a few more open spots, so we could very fast, if we receive an application, we will review it very fast. There are, I don't know, 4 or 5 open spots, and people with high motivation will get really fast approval and information how to proceed if they are interested to come and join this course, because it's starting soon. We're starting on 3rd of March. So that's all what I have in mind.
I want to close with one, because when I thought about this call, I thought one concrete example on the language and the perception. The same, and I connect with the different languages I mentioned before. Like, of course, I'm Italian, so I bring Italian. Like the difference between English falling in love and Italian that is innamorarsi. So in English, to fall in love is the word falling, like to lose a bit of control. It's bringing a full backpack of emotions and it generates this. Okay, I fall in love for you, and in Italian, the innamorarsi, the innamoramento, it's a process. So it's more a proactive action. So the same concept. It's not the same. So how we translate this action of, okay, I fall in love? No, mi sono innamorato. So I did an action in order to. It's more active process. So how we receive. So for me, this is hack the system. How do we hack the system? First we work in understanding it, understanding what is the code and what are the meanings that we give to the concepts that we receive. And I wanted to close with this, to bring this example as a food for thought. Okay, that's it. Thank you. I will now close the sharing. We're going to share it in different groups so we can also give a glimpse of this project to people. Thank you for the people who join. I see they're leaving. Thank you for the people who watch. And see you soon.
Thank you. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.